Can you hear me now? No?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes? No what?
Yes.
All right. We shall commence our 2020 annual meeting for the Village of Enosburg Falls. Andy, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Please stand. Gentlemen, remove their hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. And before we begin, is there any objections to having non-residents speak this evening? Any objection to non-resident speaking? Hearing none, we shall commence. Article 1. To receive and act on the reports of the village officers for the past year. Rather than go through each one line by line, as we usually do, I would ask for direction. I would prefer to lump them all into one group. I will read each one individually and the pages that they are listed on, but then for purposes of receiving the acts, I would lump them all together. What is your pleasure on this? Would you prefer to go line by line, or would you like to do them all inclusively? All together? All right. It has been moved to add them all together. Is there a second? Seconded by James Weed. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of putting all of the reports under one article, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. So I will go down through and I will read each report and the page that it is listed on. The village trustees report on page 13. The village manager's report, pages 14 through 15. The water department report, pages 16 through 18. The electric department report, pages 19 through 24. The wastewater department report, pages 25 through 27. And the general fund public works department, pages 28 through 34. Does anyone have any questions on any of these reports they would like answered at this time? Any questions? Yes.
On the wastewater and the electric department, what do they mean when they say under wages and salaries burden?
So burden would include your statutory taxes, FICA, Medicare, Buda Suda. It also includes workers' comp insurance.
So what are the benefits then?
The benefits, that does also include the benefits, which would be life insurance, medical, dental, vision, paid time off, and the pension plan.
Does that answer your question?
Sorry.
That's what we're here. Any other questions concerning the reports of the village officers for this past year? Any other questions? Hearing none, as many as would accept the reports under Article 1, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. So moved. Article 2, to see if the village will authorize the trustees to borrow in anticipation of taxes for the year 2020. A motion is in order. Moved by Cindy Weed. Is there a second? Seconded by Mary Ann Mercer. Thank you. Questions, comments on Article 2? Any questions? Hearing none, as many as would accept Article 2, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. You have accepted Article 2. Article 3, to see if the village will authorize the trustees to borrow in anticipation of revenues for 2020 for the operation of the Water and Light Department. A motion is in order. Then moved. Is there a second? Seconded by Cindy. Wait a minute. Thank you. Discussion? Questions on Article 3? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 3 as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Article 3 has been accepted. Article 4, to see if the village will authorize the trustees to borrow in anticipation of revenues for 2020 for the operation of the wastewater department. A motion is in order. Moved by Jim Wade. Is there a second? Seconded by Cindy Lee. Questions, comments on Article 4? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 4, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. You have accepted Article 4. Article 5, to see if the village will approve an amount of $10,000 on the grand list for the purpose of upgrading sidewalks. Motion been moved. Is there a second? And seconded. Thank you. Questions or comments on Article 6? Actually, Article 5, I'm sorry. Yes.
Sir, I may have missed it, sorry if I did. There's putting sidewalks that faces
There is not a specific sidewalk project that is planned for 2020. $10,000 is really meant as a way to start replenishing the sidewalk fund. You guys may recall that in 2019 we did a fairly large sidewalk project on Main Street from the intersection of Orchard Street up to the intersection of West Berkshire Road. That project pretty much depleted the sidewalk fund that we had built up for a few years. I believe the balance that we currently have in there is about $100. So the $10,000 is meant to just sort of start building up the fund again. We talked about, maybe trying to do something small with $10,000, but $10,000 is not what it used to be, and you can't really do very much sidewalk work on that amount of money. So the plan had been just to have that in there and to put the money in the fund and start rebuilding that fund again.
Any further questions on Article 5 as far as putting $10,000 into the sidewalk fund? Any other questions? Yes.
We got some money to do the 2019 project, right? So was what we spent matching, or did we have to give the money back because we didn't go the whole way to the rec fields?
No, I think you're referring to the Elm Street sidewalk project, totally different project.
Okay.
The project we did on Main Street last year was not in any way funded by a grant source.
Any other questions on Article 5 concerning the sidewalk fund? Any other questions? Hearing none, as many would accept Article 5 as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Article 5 has been accepted. Article 6, to vote to see if the village will appropriate the sum of $1,000 to the Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation. Motion is in order. So moved by Mike Manahan, seconded by Sandy. Any questions or comments on $1,000 to the Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation? Yes, sir.
Is this the same amount as we did last year?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions on Article 6? Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 6, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. So moved. Article 7, to see if the village will vote the sum of $500 for holiday lighting in the downtown area. Motion is in order. Moved by Cindy Minor, is there a second? Seconded by Sandy Furlong. Questions, comments on Article 7? Michelle?
You know that this is Carl looking at. Is that specific to lighting on poles, or is that part of that line item that had been $1,000 for park lighting?
So you might notice that this amount is less than it was last year and a couple of years prior. The reason for that is that we have had unused appropriations from prior years. So we've accumulated a balance of $2,764 left over from prior appropriations. If you combine that with this year's $500, it allows us $3,100 toward holiday lighting. And I think that the intent was for it to cover the same things that it covered last year. You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Mary.
Do you have, besides, under lighting, will you be looking into adding on some of the hangers? You have some more of those old hangers that are not being used. Some of them are on Depot Street, and they weren't included in the Main Street project. Do you plan to take some of those and continue along Depot Street with some of the same
Well, it's really not to do with the holiday lighting. The question you're asking has to do, are we gonna extend some of the hangers for the wreaths that had started a couple of years ago?
Well,
Different subject, I think, than the
not
holiday.
really, because those hangers that are existing on Depot Street have at times had lighting on them. They
Yeah.
were all lit, and other areas too. So I wondered, I know there are a few more of the wreaths that are not being used, that are in reserve.
Right, but I see where you're going. You may recall, Mary Ann, that last spring and summer, we spent an extensive amount of time with you and a couple other residents in the village, mapping out exactly where you wanted the wreaths to go. And everybody agreed, you agreed, the Board of Trustees agreed as to where those wreaths were going to go in 2019. No further discussion has taken place with the board since then. So if you have an idea that you are feeling like you want to extend the wreath system in other directions in the village, then I guess my suggestion would be to come in and talk to the board about it and explain to them what your thoughts are about that.
No, I don't think I would. I love the way they look this year. I thought they looked really okay. I would like to see them anchored a little satisfied with that for now.
So I guess
I just wondered.
what I'm saying is no, there hadn't been any further discussion since you had talked with the board last spring and summer about, extending that system. So, if you feel like you want to talk to the board about that, then let me know and we'll get you on an agenda, or I can have that discussion with them.
Further comments? Yes, Greg.
I believe, if I'm hearing properly, that we have leftover money, and that's why you're not asking for as much this year.
That's correct.
I thought by state statute, leftover money, unless it was put into specifically a reserve fund, had to be turned back over to voters to offset taxes the following year. Am I wrong?
It was put in a specific reserve fund. It was appropriated for holiday lighting. It was not used for holiday lighting.
But
So-
it didn't say a reserve fund for holiday lighting. It said $2,500 for holiday lighting. The word reserve fund is not in there. So it's a line item that had extra money left over that my understanding of state statute should be returned back to voters.
Well, we have spoken with our attorney about this. Our attorney has told us by writing this in as an article in the warning, you are designating those funds can only be spent for that purpose, and that if you don't spend them in that current year, you have to put them in a reserve fund and they get carried over, but they cannot be spent on anything else except the purpose that they were voted on in the article.
I understand that. I understand that the money has to stay for that subject, but my understanding of that statute is that if it's not used in that current year, and you don't have the wording reserve fund in the article, that the money is supposed to be turned back over. I may be wrong, I'm just bringing it up so that you guys can check on that.
We'll look into it again, but we have had that discussion with our attorney in the past, I know, and that has been his answer, is that if by voting it as an article with a specific purpose, you would set that up as, a fund that can only be spent for that one purpose and that one purpose only. But we can check on it.
Any further questions, comments on holiday lighting? Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 7 as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. You have accepted Article 7. Article 8, to see if the village will vote to appropriate the sum of $500 for patriotic banners in the downtown area. A motion is in order. Moved by Rachel Lamori. Is there a second? Second by Cindy Meyer. Thank you. Questions, comments on Article 8, $500 for patriotic banners? Yes.
I have a question. On page 33 in the savings and checking account balances, the patriotic banner balance is for almost $5,000. Are you building that up for new banners? Page 33.
So typically that appropriation has been $2,500 in past years. The banners don't need to be replaced every year. It costs about $4,000 each time the banners have been replaced. And they haven't been replaced for, I believe, 3 years. So there's sufficient money in the reserve now with this year's appropriation and the reserve balance to do another banner replacement in 2020. Does that answer your question?
Sandy?
So, are we doing any maintenance on what kind of, I'm a little short, seeing the banners when they're up there is, I might miss something if they're a little tattered. Is that built into the budget, that if we've got some that really don't look 100%, that those would be replaced here or something as time goes on?
Yes, Gary?
So on the drainage, we have to set up, so she could attend to all of that first, so we a lot of, she could do a couple of, maybe more, do the whole shop, do 5 or 6, across the board, they have some week on, more than,
And you do shop around the course of some experience?
well, we've been using one company that we were the third. They get some orders, we've already set up.
Well, that's always cheap.
Did everyone hear that? No? No. Would you could give Gary a microphone that way?
Just talk out loud, how's that?
We can, this will help.
So what we do, usually it's, the banners are set up in a silk setup, so we have to do, it's better to do more than less because it's the same cost to set up, no matter if we do 2 banners or 40 banners. 40 banners. So we try to do more than, a small amount because it's more financially feasible to do more banners than a few. We still do the basic setup, no matter how many we do. The silk, all the suites are set up. And the brackets are running about $110 a piece. This is the brackets we have. We try to place a few of those to get that shape. So it takes long to spend a lot of money on the banners without. They're pretty expensive per banner.
Are they in good shape?
There's some that are in good shape, and we have a few that are a little bit tattered, but I want to replace probably all of them this year. It's going to be a little bit.
Tattered flat.
Okay, but it's going to be basically the same that you see now with blue and red. Hopefully do the whole street, for the money we have this year. But we usually try to save every other year so we can do some kind of replacement.
Are the poles,
Our poles are pretty good shape.
Oh, okay.
The poles are in pretty good shape. We do have a couple that are,
actually, that wasn't the question. I was looking at Andy, because I think the poles may be about close. Yeah, that was very seamless, Gary.
This kind of pole is not pole.
All right. Any further questions on the patriotic banners? On Article 8? Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 8 as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. So moved. Article 9. To see if the village will vote a budget on the grand list to cover the 2020 village general fund budget. A motion is in order. Moved by Cindy Wade. Is there a second? Second. Mike Manahan, thank you. Questions on Article 9? Does everyone understand where that line item is in your booklet? Any questions on Article 9? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 9 as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. So moved. Article 10, to see if the village will authorize the trustees to spend unexpected and unanticipated revenues received. Motion is in order. Cindy Leiter. Is there a second? Second by Heather Moore. Questions or comments on Article 10? Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 10 as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. So moved. Article 11, to see if the village will authorize the necessary use of surpluses within departments, provided those funds stay with the Department of Origin. Motion is in order. Moved by James Weed. Is there a second? Seconded by Elizabeth. Thank you. Is there discussion on Article 11? Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting Article 11, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. So moved. Article 12, to transact any other business properly coming before this meeting. Transact any other business properly, any other business properly coming before this evening, before this meeting this evening. Does anyone have any comments that they would like to share at this time? Anyone? Well, if no one else has anything that they'd like to ask or share, yes, I will entertain.
I guess I would like to share. I wasn't sure if it was an appropriate time, so I was nervous about it. Is it appropriate to talk about things that are going on in the village?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I'm zoning administrator, Angela Wright, and as many of you probably know, we've got an application before the Development Review Board for a proposal for a tractor supply retail location on JP Drive. You may have seen signs, et cetera, and a couple of different DRB hearing notices. So that is sort of in process. It was scheduled for a Development Review Board hearing tomorrow night at 6:30 at the Emergency Services Building. That has been canceled now for the second time through what the regional planning is looking for, looking to take a different look at that. They're not, they're somewhat opposed to the way it's being proposed for our village as it relates to the regional plan. And so just found out today that it's canceled, and we are probably, I'm assuming they're going to be amending the application for that. It relates to sort of orientation of the building on that lot, parking, aesthetics, all of those sorts of things, and also the type of development that it is. And so they're amending their application again. So they have canceled, the applicant has canceled, and they will likely come back in April with an amended application. That is the second Wednesday of every month. I encourage the public to attend these hearings so that you can have a voice, ask questions. It's a pretty multi-angled application before us here, and it could encourage a lot of other growth here in this village and community. So really, this is your time to have a voice on this project. So, or call me at the zoning office. I really encourage you to come to this hearing if you can. They are that second Wednesday of every month, begins at 6:30 at the Emergency Services Building. I assume there's probably going to be a fair amount of people at this one. It's kind of a big application. That is it. I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if it's appropriate for me to take questions at this time, or you can call me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the zoning office with questions, or just speak with me alone. Additionally, Sean Kyle is our new Economic Development Director. I don't know if anybody here has met Sean. He came in, town-funded. It was something that sort of was, came through the Enosburg Initiative, and the Select Board approved it. It was kind of a town thing, but still, I want everybody to know that he is here to help the community members, those people who are starting businesses, those people who are looking for grant money. He is a really, really great resource for that. So oftentimes, and before him, folks were coming in, they will do zoning applications for businesses and things like that, and there's only so much the zoning office, it's a pretty limited hours of the zoning office, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even then, there's only a limited amount of help I can assist with when kind of starting small businesses and those sorts of things. So if you're looking for information related to grants, he's the guy. It's a great resource. His website that he's developing is enormously helpful. And I encourage you to look at that. Is it connected to our town village website yet? I don't actually know.
Econ Dev Enosburg. It's EEDVT.com.
EED as a dog, VT.com.
Excellent website.
Yeah, it's a really great resource. So anyway, I encourage you also to check him out if you're thinking of any sort of business proposals and that kind of thing. He's a great resource. And look me up at the zoning office if you have questions about him, or certainly look him up. He was extremely approachable, but really just a wealth of information for us here in this community finally. That's it.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, most of you here, Heather Moore, president, obviously. I'm also the lead second school program director for the SU and the Vermont Youth Project community lead for Enosburg and Richburg. Thursday, I just wanted to invite everybody to the Emergency Services Building. I'm doing a informational presentation to the Enosburg Initiative on the Vermont Youth Project, which if you're not familiar with it, it is a 5-year positive youth development project based on working holistically with the community, supporting all members of the community through their lives. So there'll be more information at the Enosburg Initiative meeting 6 o'clock on this Thursday. If you can't make it, I'm also doing a workshop at the library on Monday the 23rd, starting at 5:30, where we will have a presentation and have some Vermont after-school representatives come and workshop with youth and adults on some impacts in our community and how we can take look at some of the survey results that we did with our youth recently and see how we can pull that into our community and how we can take all the different projects that we have and work on the youth perception of what our community is to them.
I just wanted to, on behalf of the Business Association, thank the trustees for their support over the last year, for the things that we have brought to you. We really do appreciate the support that you give us.
Okay, I don't think he's here, but I just wanted to acknowledge we have 2 trustees whose terms were up that decided not to run again, and one of them is Guy Bro. Guy Bro has given to this community for as long as I can remember. So I think a round of applause, whether he's here or not, is well-deserved for Guy.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else at this time? Anything else? At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you.